Hello everyone, my name is Wolfdanthegamer, and today, this is my review of Thomas Was Alone. And yes, I am doing a review of this game because, well, why not? I did it as a Let's Play series, so I might as well finish off Thomas Was Alone, and put a nail to this stupid coffin already by reviewing a game that I personally love. This is not your typical 2D side-scroller though, as you see from the gameplay there. And I'm sorry about the wonky editing on the video because, well, I'm pretty much improvising through the script. I'm using the series of notes on Google Docs right now, so yeah. So this is my attempt to at least explain. But I will explain the game as much best as I can using these notes. Okay. So anyway, like I said, the game is a 2D side-scroller, but it's not your traditional side-scroller. It's not. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the story. Pretty much the gist of the story, for what you see and what I know, is you play as this random AI that appears to be a square called Thomas, and Thomas is all alone, hence the title of the name. So he decides to go out and try to find friends, and fairly quickly too. You meet a bunch of interesting characters, and let's see. I think I know on top of my head. I think there was Thomas, Chris, John. I call John Johnny Boy because, well, I don't know why. Claire, which is my personal favorite, but I will explain that later. Laura. Who else? Okay, and eventually James and Sarah. So yeah. So pretty much, you try to escape from the system. Well, from this AI-controlled world that, I will admit, it looks minimalistic at best because all you see is, well, black squares, and the backdrops are pretty much computerized. I don't think it was trying to become like the 1982 film Tron. I love Tron, by the way. I love the visual world about it. Not the story, though, in the movie, because the movie kind of sucks. But anyway, let's talk about Thomas Was Alone. Anyway, the game's visuals are minimalistic at best. It does run on a smooth 60 frames per second, and I'll definitely say it's not the most impressive world I've ever seen, but I don't think it was trying to go for that. It was trying to go for something that's more that we see realistically in the actual computer simulator. It's not gonna look right. Unlike Tron, that's going for like I think a video game aesthetic. Thomas Was Alone was trying to go for a realistic simulation aesthetic, and I kind of like it. Because, well, it makes perfect sense. It's not like they're humanoid like in the Tron films. But anyway, let's talk. I'll explain something. Well, okay, let's talk about the art games. Okay, the game is a 2D side-scroller. But how good is it? How good is the gameplay? Well, there's really not much to talk about or to explain about the gameplay. I will say the controls are pretty good for the most part. The jumping is pretty good. However, it's not that great. Well, you can control in mid-air, which is all right with this, which is mandatory for this game anyway. But sometimes when you press the jump button while you're moving, sometimes it won't work. So there's a bit of an input delay, and this happens in both. I first played this game on my laptop and beating it, and as you see in the game footage, I played on a Windows 10 computer with a 1050 Ti NVIDIA GeForce 1050 Ti graphics card with 16 gigs of RAM. That's more than enough to play this game, by the way. I don't think I don't know what happened, or is it physics or something like that, or maybe because, or I don't know. Just sometimes when you press the button, it falls. I may throw in some footage there just to find some footage to see my point. It's not too much of an annoyance at times, but it can throw it. But it did throw me back sometimes. But anyway, and also one thing about the gameplay, you control multiple characters. As you progress through the game, like I said, Thomas will meet other characters like Chris, John, and Claire, and each character has their. You get to play as all of them, which is pretty nice, and pretty useful. So it does open up some possibilities in level design and gameplay. I will say this is more like a puzzle platform, but it's not too hard. It doesn't give me bullshit puzzles like try to find one thing and try to make it work, or give me some physics-based puzzles. It's pretty much you stack blocks upon. All the characters are blocks, to be honest. So pretty much you have to stack the blocks on one over to each other to get the other places and stuff. And the game does teach you this ability, and to great effect. It doesn't force tutorials down your fucking throat. It pretty much you have to play for these levels, of course. And to be honest, each character has their own abilities and stuff. Chris can fit through smaller spaces since he's a smaller block. But he can't jump as high like Thomas. John is a long rectangular block that can't really do much in terms of space, but mix that up with a ridiculously high jump like a freaking. Oh man, how am I gonna say this? I'm trying to find a metaphor here without ripping off people. No, fuck it. He jumps like a fucking steroid Olympian, or something like that. Okay, Claire moves the slowest and doesn't jump, and is not the best, and jumps the least highest, unlike Chris. But she has hands down the best ability of all the characters, the ability to travel through water. As you see, water can actually. As you see for the rest of the characters, these guys are hyperphobic. What's that word? Was it octophobic or hypophobic? I'll call it octophobic, because if they even submerge in the fucking water, they die instantly. So yeah, that's the real obstacle. But Claire, on the other hand, somehow can survive. I don't know, maybe because of all that mass. But anyway, that's not the reason why she's my favorite character. I will explain that later. Well, actually, soon. Laura has the ability to bounce. Means every time any of the characters can jump on Laura, she pretty much acts like a freaking bounce pad in every single 2D platformer that you find. But the bounce pad is pretty much simple. It does give you a boost and it does help in cases, but also Laura is a bit more horizontal, like John. Also, she can't jump as high, but yeah. James is pretty much one of the most interesting characters that you find. Not because of personality, which I will explain, but not because of ability. He is inverted, which means he can move upside down. Which is actually pretty handy, which is actually a pretty neat ability to have. And also, last but not least, Sarah, who has the typical double jump ability. Now, abilities aside, each character has their own personalities. I'm not going to go into too much detail of every single character, but I will try to explain as much of each one as I can. Thomas is your okay, how am I explain Thomas? Okay, Thomas is your typical main character that just thrown in the world without friends, and pretty much his main goal is to find friends. But he's also optimistic, and is the leader. He's a natural leader. He's pretty much a cynicist. Chris is not happy. He doesn't like everyone. There's a word about this. I think it's called cynicism. Cynicism. He's cynicistic, and he has a very dark sense of humor. And he likes to be alone at times. And Johnny Boy is the guy who likes to show off his freaking jumps, but he's also caring. But he's also more compassionate towards. He's also more sympathetic towards to his friends and our people too. And also Claire, who is my personal favorite character of the entire game, not because of her ability, but for her personality and what she's going through. And this will be a spoiler. I will spoil the way part of the level. I will try. Okay, Claire pretty much. She goes to this one section. When you first see her, she is up on this pillar, this crumbling pillar. And I think that's a metaphor of how her life is crumbling all around her. That that she is trying to become something that she was that the system was trying to design her for. And all of a sudden, she, out of nowhere, she discovers that she found the purpose. Once she lands in the water, she realized that she can do something with her life and help people. And I think that's the reason why I love Claire, because we get to see her play this superhero role that Claire is using to identify herself. But like I said, it's probably it's like I said, and also okay, James is pretty much a typical weirdo of the group, and thinks everyone is just like that. That was until he meets Thomas, and he realizes that hey, maybe we're all weird in life. And yes, we all meet those certain people in life, and I met those people personally. But I think it's more of an acceptance than anything else. Sarah is more of a noble, now that I think about it. How the game explains about that. We'll talk about that too. Okay, so Sarah is pretty much like a wise noble woman, like Joan of Arc. That's pretty much a comparison I can explain, because trust me, I will explain this. And pretty much that's all I want to talk about the characters. And I will say Claire's my personal favorite because personality-wise, and also she has one of the best abilities in the game, which definitely helps. Okay, but let's see. Okay, story-wise, well, I try to explain the story the best I can, but I will say it's actually pretty great. The one thing that makes the story stand out, in my opinion, is the narration. Oh my god. To be honest, narration in video games can be a hit or a miss, depending on how it's done. However, in this game, it actually benefits the story and the gameplay, because it's actually done by a guy named Danny Wolfdanthegamer. I never heard of this man, but I did some research on Danny Wolfdanthegamer. Hold on, I gotta look it up again. Sorry, I'm recording the audio and it's unfiltered, so yeah, so don't worry about that. And he is was quote unquote a humorist. So pretty much he's a pretty interesting guy. This ain't his first video game role. His other video game role, he played the Assassin's Creed character Sean Hastings. And for your ask, I don't know what he looks like, so don't ask me. But anyway, I think his work is spectacular. He has a lot of humor, and some of the lines are ridiculously funny. I'm not gonna spoil the lines. Actually, I am spoiling it because you're seeing the lines for himself. But his delivery of the lines are generally funny, and I like it. To be honest, I never actually seen his work at all. I never heard of his work. I think other than the Assassin's Creed thing, Jiggy. But yeah, he actually can do some. I hope. Okay, so anyway, voice acting aside, the dialogue's pretty great. Danny Wolfdanthegamer nails the performance. I feel like it was written for him. So yeah, and let's see. Okay, let's talk about the music. Okay, music. Oh my god, the music is done by this one guy called David Hunston. I may have screwed up the last name. The music is fucking fantastic. I'm serious. It's a combination of both piano and synthesizers and some orchestrated tracks, some orchestrated stuff. It fits. It not only fits the world, the computerized world way better than Tron. Don't get me wrong, Tron's music is memorable, but listen to it by itself, it's not the best listening experience. But David Hunson's music, oh my god, you can put that on pretty much anything. And it feels like this documentary style that we see like of a nature documentary. That's what the whole game feels like. It feels like a documentary. But the narration, the pleasant music that is both fantastic and pleasant and epic. Oh my god. Do yourself a favor, look up the freaking music. And also, you can also find the music. It's not too hard to track down. Just look it up on Google. You can pretty much find on pretty much anything. And oh my god, just it fits this documentary style very well. And that's one thing I love about this game. It doesn't try to become a typical 2D platform. It wants to tell a simple story, and wants to do something that we all want to see. And when I first played the game, I was very impressed. I was impressed of the visual style, and also impressed of the narration style. I'll definitely say it's one of the best narrative stories I ever heard in my life. Okay, also, sound design is actually pretty good. There's some... They actually took a point... They actually took some... The jumping is done... Okay, the jump sound effects are different from each character. And, let's see. There's really not many sounds in the game, to be honest, but there are some memorable sounds. The jump sound effects are pretty good. And every time you go through the exit portals, there's a boop. It kind of reminds me of a Atari game for some reason. I'm serious. It sounds familiar. And to be honest, the sound effects are actually pretty good. And there's nothing wrong about the sound at all. There's not a single sound I count as bad or even decent, to be honest, because all the sounds are pretty great. And okay, let's talk. Okay, what else to talk about? Okay, I'm trying to think what else is there to talk about. Well, the game's not that long. If you go through the game, you will. I think the first time you'll probably die a bit, but the game is very liberal with checkpoints. You can die as many times as you want, which is nice. So the challenge is actually surprisingly easy throughout. The first time you beat the puzzles are gonna be understandably tricky once you get used to them. But the game's really not that long. Let's see. I think there's like 10 sets of levels. So there's like 100 levels. So there's like 100 levels in the game. And I'm not gonna spoil the ending, or at least a few of the plot points, because, well, they're spoilers, of course. But anyway, I will say the game itself it's pretty great. Obviously, it's not as challenging like Super Meat Boy or any other platformers you probably play on any circuit. But in terms of story, it's a pretty great story. I think that what's hold the game up. I think that's what holds the game up. And I like how the game is not trying to be focused on gameplay. Like I said, it's not trying to focus on that. It wants to tell you a story. That's what the game wants to do, and it does that spectacularly well. And I'll have to give credit to all the people who involved in this game. It was made by, I think, one guy. His name is Mike Birrell, and this was his first game that he developed himself. And actually, so I'll have to give this guy a lot of credit, and he is a very interesting guy to work with, and I will love to see this guy. So I will love this. He did release a few other games, but I haven't played them yet. So Mike Burrow, I'd like to say I thank you for releasing this game, and I hope I can check out your other games in the future, which I will eventually once I get money. But anyway, I will stop this video here. I will say my closing points is this: the game is pretty great with a realistic art style that is pretty great. The game with interesting characters that have their own unique personality traits and abilities, which I think is the best. The narration by Danny Wallace is spectacular and really makes me chuckle a few times. How funny it is. And also the music by, once again, the music by David Hunson is fantastic, spectacular, and pleasant looking, sounding to sound with. And the game's a pretty nice breeze if you don't want to play, if you don't like much challenge. So I can easily recommend this to anyone who doesn't like Super Meat Boy or any games that are ridiculously hard. But this game's not that hard, to be honest. It's really easy. And that's all I want to point out. And I will definitely say there's really not much wrong with the game. At least nothing major. There are, well, switching between characters can be a bit clunky at times while trying to get to one specific character. So yeah, and the camera, well, I wish it could have been done a bit better, in my opinion, but that's really minor stuff compared to the rest of the game, which I think it. So yeah. So anyway, I hope you enjoy my review of Thomas Was Alone, and I hope I can. I know there's a couple games made more after Thomas Alone by the same developer, Mike Birroll. I will check out their games in the future. Hopefully, his games in the future. Hopefully. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this review of Thomas Was Alone. Please be sure to check out my other review of The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. It's probably not the best review of that done the style because it was more of a jerry rig. It was more of a wham moment. I just winged it there. But here, I feel like I've improved a bit because I know what I need to talk about now without focusing too much. And whatever I did miss, let me know in the comments below. And heck, like I said, I'm not perfect. I just want to talk about the game and my opinion and my perspective. So anyway, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more Wolftastic reviews and videos like this. Like I said, I'll try to get some content as much as I can every week. Well, of course, these reviews will take time because I need to take time to get the videos done. And like I said, I'm doing the audio and note taking first before I do the actual video editing. It works for me. Don't judge me on that. But anyway, that's all the time I have today for this video, folks. So have a Wolftastic day. Bye bye.